Om Dum Dhamavati. Om Vishnurai Vimahe Lale Lai Vimahe No Agni Puraya Vishnurai Vimahe Lale Lai Vimahe No Agni Puraya. What the wind does. Bhagavatam was a hot book. Oh. You may have to adjust. As you need. Copy link. There's a nice lady devotee who brings bird food. She's welcome to come if she wants. I don't know if she's with them or if she's coming. She's welcome to come. Can we turn these lights on? One of the switches? Yeah, door open for now. So this is plugged in, right? That's my most common mistake nowadays. Okay. We shall continue our reading. We're from in chapter, book 10 of the Bhagavatam, Skanda 10, which is the Krishna Lila. And last meeting, which was last year it seems, last time we read from the Bhagavatam was a long time ago, we had finished Krishna had knocked over the Arjun trees and let the Guyakas out, right, in his Damodar Lila, and the prayers of the Guyakas, and also and then some very lovely, I think the last official talk that's on our podcast simply says like Bala Lila, childhood pastimes of Krishna, very sweet pastimes that accentuate the mood, the devotional mood of Raj. And so this will pick up from there. So we'll start with our, please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Devye Matriksha Mangalam Mangalam Bhakta Brindevyo Sarva Lokaya Mangalam Om Stapakaya Chadharmasya Sarvadharma Sarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Mangalam Om Sarashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ashmarachara Prayantam Vande Gurum Paramparam Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahman Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswati Namaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana, Skanda 10, Chapter 11, and Chapter 11 and 12 we'll read today. I think the full Chapter 12, Chapter 11 and 12. After, in the story, we're reading from Krishna Lila, and already so many scary things have happened to Krishna that made the Gopas and Gopis very nervous. What had happened already in such a seeming such short amount of time? There was a witch, Putana, who tried to, and then it was monstrous, became a giant monstrous body, and the cowherd men were very bewildered by this, right? And then Aghasura, he was, a cart fell on him. That was really, we understand that it was a cart demon that fell on him, and somehow or another he was saved. And then there was a whirlwind, Vatasura, a whirlwind came, picked him up, took up into the sky, right? All these, I mean, imagine if you're already, a mother is worried every time her kid falls, something horrible is going to happen, you know. I know some of our devotees with children, the kid bumps his head, they take him to the hospital, they take him to the doctor to check. I mean, is he okay? Everything all right? You know, kids, as one of our, Prakash sometimes says that they're made of growth hormone and cartilage. It's like easy, they heal quickly, you know. But, you know, imagine how nervous, but these are seemingly big things, you know, very bad accidents. Monsters seem to be attacking. The child gets pulled up into the sky, very scary. Right, and then this weird thing where these two, they hear a giant noise, and they come, and these two trees have been fallen over in the garden of, in the yard of Nanda Maharaj. Very disturbing. So they think maybe we should move. Maybe now this is going a few more pieces. We got it going here. Okay. So I'm starting on verse 21 of chapter 11, and I'm reading. There's a few verses that I translated because I found all these are very important verses. Every verse is important. Most of these verses are narrative, so they're telling the story. So I'm just reading existing. I'm working with Swami Bhajanananda's translation, which I think is very fine in this sense. Nanda and the other elders among the Gopas now felt alarmed by all these extraordinary happenings in the settlements situated in Vrindavana. They interpreted these as portending further calamities in store. If all the things, if you have all these bad things happening, maybe we should move. These are bad omens, right? So they all met in confidence to think about the welfare of the cowherd settlement. Then Upananda, a Gopa of old age, both in age and in wisdom, and always concerned about the welfare of Rama and Krishna, Balarama and Krishna, one who had full comprehension of time, place, and the heart of the situation, counseled as follows. We who are interested in the welfare of this Gokula, this cow settlement, should make haste to move away from this place. Every day we are meeting with danger signals indicating perils for the colony. By the grace of God, this child escaped from the hands of that wicked demoness, indulging in infanticide. This is Putna. And also in the danger of being crushed by that big cart. This child was lifted into the sky, into the spear of birds, by an Asura who came as a whirlwind and dropped him on a rock. Divine providence alone saved him, the darling of this occasion also. That neither this boy nor any other child died crushed by those giant trees in another instance of the Lord's protective hand. They're saying all these horrible things happened, but by God's grace, nothing happened to Krishna. Of course, we know something that they do know, but we're in the story. We know something they don't know, that Krishna is Krishna tu Bhagavan Swayam. He is directly God, right? So without understanding that, it's just, by God's grace, nothing happened to Krishna. Actually, that's a very amazing statement. Of course, it's Krishna. It's by Krishna's grace. It doesn't happen. It's all by Krishna's grace. Before this terrible calamity, with all these portents indicate happens, let us leave this place with our children and all our dependents. There is a famous woodland called Vrindavana, which has virgin pastures for cows, which will be very congenial for gopas, gopis, and cattle, for cowherd girls, and cows, and which abounds in sacred hills, grasslands, trees, creepers, and other vegetation. We should migrate to this place even now. If you are agreeable to this proposal, then get your carts ready to start, and let the cattle, which form our wealth, go in advance. So they're in Gokul, in the larger area of Vrindavan. They're not in Vrindavan proper. They were in the larger Viraj Mandal. I am not so expert. I went to Vrindavan many years ago. I can't picture it as much as I should. Madhuri comes, she knows where everything is situated, where all these places were, and the geographic spread. But at this point they decided, let's move to Vrindavan proper. Let's move into and Vrindavan, what a beautiful name. Vrindavana, right? Vrinda's forest, right? So it has two meanings. One is that it's a forest. Vrinda is a name of one gopi, right? And who appears in this world in manifest form as a tulsi plant, right? And there's a long story how she became a plant, and that's Skanda Purana goes into great detail of these things. Even Devi Bhagavatam goes into those details. Very wonderful, complicated story of the connection. But a simple thing is but she is just like we probably have, like, what's the lady? There's some goddess of forest. There's, I think in Western mythology we have this idea, right? There's like Diana. Of course, Vrinda and Diana have very different natures. Diana is a hunting goddess, like this, erotic and a hunting goddess. But still, forests are magical places, right? They're places of the Devi, and the personification of the forest, or the deity that controls the forest, is here. This forest is Vrinda's forest. So it's not a normal forest. And because she manifests as Tulsi, another way you can see this is a Tulsi forest, right? And here, it's very hard to get Tulsis to grow, both in the climatical environment and the devotional environment of America. Tulsi doesn't grow as well as she does, but in Vrindavan she grows very well, right? And to big, I can't say trees, but in bushes. It's chaparral type of. And if you look at the oldest areas of Vrindavan, that haven't been developed, beautiful old chaparral low trees. The posters, we make it into some celestial forest with fountains and peacock. It's almost like a jungle celestial, but this is a kind of a chaparral forest, and great for cows, right? And so it said it abounds and has more than enough vegetation. It has clean water, has creepers, grasslands for the cows, and holy hills. Actually, this is, when we're looking for a place to live, we should be looking for these things, right? A place with all auspicious marks. There's one month that I'm forgetting just now. When I was reading this afternoon, I should look at, but it didn't come in our timing today. That is like a place, if I may get it wrong, please forgive me. Those many people who are listening would probably also know this mantra. But that a place that doesn't have a flowing river, right? Flowing river, brahmanas, those who are chanting the Vedic mantras, and cows, right? Those places should be avoided. You shouldn't live in such a place. Clean water, cows, and brahmanas. Those three are there. That's auspicious place. Something like that. Maybe I'm missing one or adding one, I don't know, but some auspicious things. So they're also looking for Vrindavan, and of course that mantra was probably written in Vrindavan. It's describing Vrindavan. Most likely, that's another. We should live in Vrindavan. And if we can't live in Vrindavan, right, we should, of course, Vrindavan is a geographical location on earth, a couple hours outside Delhi, right, if we were to understand that place. But it's also a divine realm also, and an internal realm. And so we create, what do? We plant tulsi, we plant fruit-bearing trees and fragrant creepers, right? We have a river, we have, we create a Vrindavan, we have Shalagram, we have Krishna. Right, we have the brahmanas. We invite the brahmanas. So we create this Vrindavan. All the gopas, the cowherd boys, unanimously agreed to the idea. So all their carts were got ready and all their possessions put into them. The Gopas started on their trek, the old men, women, children, and their possessions put into their cart, the cows marching ahead, and themselves and their priests following vigilantly, with bows ready in hand. They blew their horns loudly, and the sounds of trumpets and other instruments spread everywhere. Dressed in new clothes, having fresh saffron powder rubbed on their breasts, and adorned with shining necklaces, the gopis sat in their carts joyously, singing sweet songs dealing with the sportive doings of Krishna. Yashoda and Rohini, with Krishna and Rama, Rama here means Balaram, by their side occupied one cart, and heard with great delight the songs about their children's deeds sung by the gopis. So all the gopis are singing songs about Krishna. And so the mother of Krishna and Balaram especially charmed, hearing people glorifying their child. Entering into the land of Vrindavana, which was pleasant to stay in all seasons, they first fixed the site of their settlement, arranging their carts in a semicircular form. Rama and Krishna were in great glee to see the beautiful scenery of Vrindavana, its Govardhan mountain, and its sand dunes on the Yamuna banks. By their boyish pranks and sweet speech, Ram and Krishna delighted all in the Gokul, in the settlement. Gradually, as they grew up, they began to tend small calves. In the company of other boys, they took the calves to tend in places not far from Vraj, carrying with them numerous playthings to engage themselves in sport. So this is the cow-loving settlement, a cow-protecting settlement. So from a very early youth, with 4 or 5 years old, they're already beginning to take care of cows. Some of the smaller calves usually, right? As they get older, they're responsible to get more. But as kids, like we were also allowed to go. Nowadays, kids aren't allowed to be out of sight of their parents, right? They get kids taken away from you if the parent sees a kid walking home without an adult now, right? But we grew up. We had a limit how far we could go. Joy Ma Madhuri. We had a limit how far we could go, right? And as we got older, the limit could go out further, right? So they were allowed to take the cows small distances, short distances, and they would take with enough toys, because as the cows are grazing, the kids would play naturally. This is part of the charm. Sometimes they played on their flutes. Sometimes they flung stones with their catapults. I guess that means probably a slingshot, right? Sometimes they kicked balls, sounding the mini bells on their anklets. Sometimes they put on masks of bulls and engaged themselves in mock fights. And if your world is cows and bulls, your play is also cows and bulls, right? So you play like fighting bulls, right? Engage themselves bellowing like bulls. Sometimes they mimic the sounds of different kinds of animals. Thus they played about like ordinary boys. Now, I guess we do. The kids, they all play on their whatever game they downloaded.
All the time.
It's a different thing. This is not for. Maybe there's an app for Vrindavan games. You can kick balls around on your iPhone or something. But so remember, they moved because they moved. Just at the face of the story, they moved because all these dangerous things were to happen. And you can see if a place is not good for you, you move, right? But it doesn't mean bad things stop happening, right? Because sometimes places have benefits, some places aren't good for you, some places are better. But in regular life, our karmas follow us, right? Right. There's many stories about somebody who, heard that death was going to meet him at one city, so they went to another city, and he happened to be there doing some other work. Oh, good, you're here. So many stories like that you can't avoid. The karmas will come to you, right? We can try to, and we should, in a certain sense, we shouldn't try to be suffering. We should try to get ourselves. So that's one lesson we can get. But this is not what's happening. Krishna doesn't have karma, right? Actually, Krishna has karma and everything. He has a karma. He has a work to do. His work is partially to kill demons. Right, and luckily he doesn't have to go looking for them; they come looking for him, right? Which is also something. If we take this karma and as our own personal karma, even if you do nothing, it will come to you. That the sages later in the Bhagavatam, the 11th skanda, Buddha Gita, Prahlad meets Guru Dattatreya, Guru Dat, and Dattatreya is just laying on the ground like a snake, right? Just laying on the ground, naked on the ground, right? And Prahlad looks at him and says, "There's some. Most people just laying on the ground. They mean they're lazy, and have bad karma. I mean something bad like that. But he looks so holy, and he looks healthy also. He must be getting food without making any effort. How is he getting food just laying on the ground like that? So bewildered by me, he asks, "Excuse me, good sir, can I ask you who you are, what you're doing, why you're there?" So Dattatreya gives some answers. And when he says, I'm just sitting, there's one sadhana called like a python. Like you say in one place, a python, of course, actually snakes go hunting, right? But if it just stays by this hole, just waits, eventually one mouse will walk by. And then you have to do anything. Just wait long enough, a mouse will come by and you eat. So in other words, you don't have to do any effort to get food. Others beg their food, others cook their food, or there's different ways to get food for sadhus. This one is like so what is it? By their own their past karma, the food will come to them. Whether you work for it or not. If he goes out and begs food, he'll get food. If he sits there, food will come to him. It's his karma to get food. And he has good karma, so good food will come. So even begging or not begging, just not sitting there, he's being well fed. Other people work like anything. Work all day long and they still starve. Right? No matter how much they work, or whether they work or not work, they're hungry. Other people, whether they work or not work, they're fed. Right? So it's not always, you're being lazy or you're being hard worker. Sometimes it's past karmas also, right? But so if we move, we should try to avoid suffering and get pleasure and get happiness, but the pleasure and happiness will come by the result of what's meant to come will come to us. Where it will follow us. If we move, it will move. Right? There's many stories of sadhus. Enough of this. I'm in the city. I'm too agitated. I'm going to the mountains to a cave. Right? Which means there's now a cave in the mountain. There's now a city in the mountains. Right? You take the city with you. Right? But this is something we can pull from this idea of moving when there's trouble. But this is not obviously what's meant for Krishna. But his karma, his duty, his work is partially to kill demons, and so if he goes out to find them, he'll kill them. Or if you're sitting playing in the woods, they'll come to him. So that we'll see. And already so many demons have come, and the demons we have to understand. We can understand. It'd be helpful to understand a little bit of the symbolism of the. Which actually, in some schools they call it demonology, not demonology in how to invoke and control demons. That's like a type of demonology. It means just a study of the meaning. Like mythology is a study, the study of myth, the meaning of myth, right? Demonology is the meanings of demons, right? So and used in that sense, the study and meaning and understanding. So these different demons that Krishna kills, like in the Chandi, we've given. That's one of our specialties. We've talked a lot about what each demon represents, right? Not doubting that Devi killed that demon, right? But there's a demon inside of us that corresponds, that's useful to think about. And not only are we praying that those qualities are, as the Devi killed Mahishasura, that the Devi also within us kills our lust and greed and anger and jealousy and ego like that. That's a natural prayer. But also meditating on the Devi killing Mahishasura, there's a correspondence. Right, so even if we're not thinking, may she destroy my lust and anger and greed and ego, right? But by meditating on her killing Mahisha, our lust and anger is also destroyed partially. There's by correspondence. It's like two strings tuned to the same note. You string one, the other vibrates, whether you're trying to consciously do it. So similarly with the stories of the demons that Krishna kills, some have given some interpretation. And in the previous discussions, way back when we were more regularly discussing these stories, we were giving both the classical interpretations of what the demons represent, and then also these are the classical devotional interpretation generated from the text itself, and as well as sometimes a more like yogic interpretation that's not the obvious, but yogis have seen, this is also, whether it was intentional or whether it's a really good symbol, right? It's like in the Bible it says the 7 lighted candles, right? Maybe it has nothing to do with the chakras. Probably doesn't have anything to do with the chakras, but it's a really good symbol for the chakras, right? So yogis look at that and they think, what a beautiful symbol. These verses give me insight. Whether they're intentional or not, there's other ways. So it's not artificial, just guessing. These are yogis, people of very deep understanding, have also thought about these things, these same stories, and so we've been trying to present kind of both or all three sides. One is the text as an ancient mythological history, as a history, a spiritual history, as the traditional symbolism of the demons, what they represent, as well as kind of a yogic interpretation of these stories. So as a traditional interpretation, they're seeing we have in the birth of Krishna and his career, his lila, is also, as we meditate upon his divine lila, we're also corresponds or describes a devotee's spiritual advancement, the stages of sadhana, right? From the hearing of the mantra with the birth of Krishna, and all these stages that go through. And so then the different, when we take spiritual life honestly and sincerely, and we start chanting God's name, for instance, right? There's the Vaishnavas have developed it very elaborately. They have this idea of they call them anartas. Anarta means an unwanted thing. Almost like it's related to the arta. Arta means like a wealth, right? A desired thing, right? Anarta means that which is not wealth, right? A garbage thing. It's something that if we didn't have, we'd be happy. Where we have many things, we want many things we don't have, and we have many things we don't want, right? And so in their spiritual life, there's many things. Some things, like there's some big things like ego and lust and anger. These are obvious anartas. Some of them are just ideas, our past conditioning, right? Things that we've inherited biologically from our family, things we've inherited from our karmas from the past, right? Both good and bad. These are also could be anartas. Some of them are subtle illusions, mistakes in our thinking, right? We think this way, but the truth is, and a simple one we could say, you can't teach somebody who knows everything. If you don't have a big religious mind, you can't learn anything. So an anarta could be knowledge. So usually knowledge is a good thing, sometimes knowledge is a bad thing, right? So it's not always obvious that these things, but it depends on what you want. In devotion, there are certain things that become anartas. So, like for instance, in our discussion so far, the first demon that attacked Krishna was, of course, Kamsa is the big one. But all these are messengers of Kamsa. First is Putana, who is the witch or the wet nurse who gives her breast, right? And then Krishna, but actually smears the breast with poison, right? And so we spent 2.5 hours, I think, that class on this. So we discussed the depths of that demon. But one simple interpretation: this is considered the false guru. Here, the new devotee, the new birth of devotion, as beginning of spiritual life, can easily be somebody can pretending to be motherly, but not motherly, right? This is called mother. This is the one danger of the pseudo guru, the false guru, right? Aghasura, the cart. Remember that he was put on a cart and the cart fell, right? And so they think, oh my God, this giant cart fell on him, but actually that cart was a demon in the story, right? And so that cart is seen as our condition, the things that we're loaded with, right? And all this conditional thinking, our habits and our conditional thinking. These are things, we start our spiritual life is like, yes, but my idea, that's true, Guruji, but my idea is this, right? So
I'll surrender to you, but I won't fight.
That's a great line in the Bhagavad Gita. It says, I'm a soul surrendered to you, tell me what to do, but I'm not fighting. First it says you have to fight. I'll do anything you say, Guruji, but not fight. This is so, and at the end, after almost 700 verses later, Krishna goes, okay, now I'll fight. I'll do what you ask me. You ask me to fight, I'll fight. Being surrendered to you means doing what you ask me to do, and you ask me to fight, so I'll fight. Right? In a certain sense, that's Arjuna's. That's the final verse of Arjuna. It says, my memory has been restored. Right. It's okay. Leave it because of the ashral. My memory has been restored, and I'm not. My illusion has been removed, and I'm now willing to do what you say. Right. So it took a long time, a big thing to get past the second anarta. Then Tanivarta Asura. This is the whirlwind. Right. This is all. We've given many interpretations like this, but the general thing is this is like the pride that just takes our mind away. Ego. Somebody says something, the mind goes running, right, up into another world, right. And then of course the twin trees that fell were not really demons. These are devas that were in these forms, and we've given much interpretation of that and discussion of that. But these are seen as like the pride and intoxication that comes from wealth. We have to get over that also. These are stages. Krishna has to knock these down, right? So now we're at another set of 3 demons. And so the sages say, the devotional sages say, that we actually, when we chant God's name, when we're worshiping Krishna, we're worshiping God, we should also pray, Lord, as I'm worshiping you, as I'm thinking about you, please remove these anartas. Right? Just as you can word it almost in the word of the story. Just as you killed Putana and liberated her, please change my attitude looking for an easy way out, looking for a false teacher, rather than somebody who actually has my good. Just as you knocked over the cart, may I be able to get free of my preconceived notions and conceptions and habits like this. So these are anarthas that have to be removed. So just reading the stories help remove them, but we can also use the language of the story, right? There's one I'm remembering just now, Radhikananda Saraswati, a very nice sannyasini who came here many years ago, and she wrote many beautiful songs. I remember one song she sang very beautifully, and in the middle of the song she translated, right? I don't remember the song, but I remember some of the gist of it. He says, so it's a dialogue between a devotee and God, right? And so the devotee says, who gave fruit to Sabari? Sabari gave fruit to, right? Mm-hmm. Shabari gave fruit to Ram. It says you ate Ram's fruit. I mean, you ate Ram, you ate Shabari's fruit. Why don't you eat my fruit? And then he answers, because you don't offer them like Shabari, right? Or you protected Prahlad, right? And then the Lord says, as Nrsingadev you protected Prahlad, but then the Lord says, but you don't have the devotion of Prahlad and the dependence, right? Or Draupadi, you protected the honesty of Draupadi. You don't call me like Draupadi called me, right? So we have to. These stories are we should be like Draupadi. We should be like Prahlad. We should be like Dhruva. We should be like Shabari. So the language of this text itself are examples. We use the language in our own orientation, spiritual practice. So the first demon that's going to attack here is called Vatasura. Right. One day when Rama and Krishna were tending calves with the other boy, remember they're about 5 years old now, right? So this is, you may imagine, little tiny boy, they're 5 years old. And Asura came there with the idea of killing them. Detecting him among the calves in the disguise of a calf, Sri Hari pointed it out to Balaram and then went near him as if innocently. Some texts I saw, and maybe just a different translation or different tellings, he tells Balaram, "Hey, you see that cow there? He's not one of our cows. They all know they're cows. There's something weird about that cow, or calf, or bull, right? Maybe bull. You say bull. Here it says calf." So Balaram, he says, "You want me to take care of it?" Right? Balaram's always very strong. He says, "No. Krishna says, I'll check it. Let's both check it out." Right? So they kind of get in amongst the cows, like, and they see he's not one of them. Who is it? A cow wouldn't come into another cow. So maybe it's just a demon trying to hide as a cow. Right? He caught hold of his hind legs and tail together, and whirling him around and around, hurled him dead on top of a kapita tree. His huge carcass fell down from the tree, bringing large numbers of kapita fruits with it. The boys, astounded to see a huge dead body, loudly acclaimed the feet of Krishna, while the devas rained flowers in joy. Right, so this is a very simple story. It only takes 5 or 4 verses, I think, 3 or 4 verses, right? So it's given in the general, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who wrote on the symbolism of this, he wrote that he symbolizes a childish mentality, right? Thinking about it myself and reading that, I think it's that, but related to that is also, just like Putna is a false guru, this is also hiding as if something familiar. Right, and so internally it may be a childish quality, trying to pretend to be like, but it looks just like a cow. It's a demon. Cow. There's nothing holier than cows, especially in Vrindavan, right? And to these people, cow is the holiest of all things, right? And yet there's a demon. Look, he's like, may not really be a cow, right? And we think in Tantra, Vaishnava Tantra, it says one of the anarthas. These are higher up. This will get very deep. Is things that look just like devotion, right? And like an example, like I remember this perfect right here, growing right here, right here, we saw a tulsi plant growing, right? And it says in the scriptures that if a tulsi grows by, we have many tulsi, so a seed could have come, and also from the summer degree, who knows what, something we're sweeping here, and some seed may come in the ground. Where it grows naturally, you can't move it. Right? If you can plant it in a pot like that, but you can't. If it grows in the ground, you leave it. Even an inconvenient spot, you do it. She chose to be there. So we're thrilled here in front of my kutir, in front of the holy Duni. We're speaking Bhagavatam here, just by the power of the holy the nectar of the Lord's words. Tulsi has come to bless us. Right? Beautiful, beautiful. It's big. You know, like Lakshmi. We saw one of our Lakshmi big leaf. And then slowly, they got bigger and bigger. The stem didn't look right. Right, the stem had four. It was a very different stem. It was a weed. Right, we're worshiping a weed. well, it's beautiful that at least we're thinking of Krishna and thinking of we saw. But we're seeing. It's good that we should see. Wonderful, we can see weeds as tulsi, but sometimes we should see weeds as weeds, right? Because when we went to put this altar in, we actually tried. We were thinking we can't put this altar in because the plant's in the wrong. We can't move this plant. Right, that time it wasn't here, right? We had a different thing here. It was basically right there, where the concrete is still right now, right? But then once we realized that, I said, we pulled it out. Roots weren't tulsi, stem was not tulsi, smell of it, not tulsi, taste, definitely not tulsi. Not tulsi, weed. I mean, some auspicious plant. I mean, all weeds are also plant. A weed is a plant in the wrong place, ultimately. You know, I'm not judging the plant, right? But it's not tulsi, right? You know. And so we pulled it. I forget. We pulled it out, and we were able to put our shrine here. But that's called a upashaka in literature. Upashaka means an extra plant, a plant that shouldn't be there, right? And the thing is, it looks just like the plant, and we've seen that many times. This is a great example. But weeds grow just next to the plant you're trying to cultivate, right? So when you water the plant, you're also watering the weed. When you chant to Krishna, you're also chanting to the weed, right? That's also growing. I'm not going against any plant. That's symbolic, you know. This was a literal thing, but it's also symbolic, right? But
Why do you hate weeds?
I don't hate cows either, right? Krishna doesn't hate cows. He loves cows, right? But the thing is, it's not really a cow. It looks just like a cow. So there's many things that they look like something we want, but they're actually not. They're the opposite of what we want.
Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Oh yeah, no, we have that in the Western tradition, a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? It looks like a sheep. It's like, that's a weird sheep, right? Something is wrong about that sheep, right? And also we see there's yogis, like, it looks like a yogi, something wrong. Or as we've been saying, a wizard should know better, right? You know, wizards shouldn't do that. You know, like they look just right, but something's wrong.
Grandpa,
So
what big teeth you have.
yeah. So in our stories we have the same thing. You know, it's like, you look like my grandma, but you have that big nose and those big teeth. You know, that's why I could see you better, my darling. You know, I could smell you better, my darling. You know, but this is the same type of thing. Something hiding, but it's externally. You can say, oh, this is but this could be a false teacher. But I think this could be any anartha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is the anartha of childishness, right? To me, the text doesn't directly say that, but he has direct connection, so we trust his insight. But it's still that it's something looking very nice, right? You see, even Arjuna in the Gita, he looks out. Let me see who I have to fight, and he sees, but these people are like me. These are my family, right? These are my gurus, my teachers, my uncles, my family. He says, like, without them, I don't want to live. Right, but we forget, and he makes a good argument. Who would want to kill their family or chief? We have to respect our chief, respect our family, right? And just for sake of a little bit of property, am I going to commit this horrible war, right? But he has to remember that they took a vow that we will not give you as much land as fits on the tip of a pin, right? You know, it's like you get nothing. Not like your own kingdom. They tried that, didn't work, right? You know, it's like not even the amount of land on the tip of a pin. In other words, your people, the thing he's thinking, all these are very beloved to me, but they have everything. They're trying their best to destroy you. So if you're attached to, I'm not picking on family. I'm not saying your family's trying to destroy you. These can be extended if you take them too literally. Then you can extend them into complicated relations with family members, right? But the point is that you're thinking, oh, these are wonderful, but actually they're enemies. They're not for your will. So the same thing. This is a demon. His intention. I have to kill Krishna and Balaram, and these boys, right? These boys are sworn to protect cows, but they weren't cows. That's the thing. They looked just like cows. They weren't actually cows, right? That's Vatasura. Thank you. So next Asura. Rama and Krishna, who were really the guardians of the three worlds, now went about as the guardians of small calves. I like this. They're actually the guardians of everything, but now they're acting as gopalas. They're digpalas, and the guardians of the 10 directions of the three worlds, but actually they're gopalas. But also means that these cows, they're automatically given a symbolic, a metaphoric meaning. The cows are everything, right? Everything is worth protecting in the three worlds, and now represented in this story as cows. Also, a cow is worthy to the protectors of the three worlds do protect cows, right? The cow is all important, not only symbolic but actual. Is it working? Good. Starting from home in the early morning with food packets in their kit, they moved about feeding the calves in pasture grounds. One day they went to a lake to water the calves. After doing so, they themselves quenched their thirst with the water. The boys who were now terribly frightened to see a huge creature like one of those fabled mountains whose wings were cut off by Indra. That creature was the powerful Asura, Baka, who came in the shape of a crane with a sharp beak. A crane is with a long, and also those long, thin legs. The shape is very important, and a long, we see a crane walk by. Wow! The other day we thought, oh, there's like a herrings walk by. We have equivalent of cranes here in the form of our herrings that migrate here. We're very excited and auspicious to see one, but they were kind of frightened by this, right? The monster now rushed towards Krishna and swallowed him. Right. So you can see, and we when they're here, we very quietly go to the river. We see them hunting, and they walk. you see, they're so graceful, and they got a fish, and then they fly off. Right, to how it is very important, right? But so graceful. But you see, just like this, like in one gulp, they're very expert. They catch and they grab. Right. This is important. So he swallowed Krishna because he was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. All these are being sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. The monster now rushed towards Krishna and swallowed him. Rama and the other boys became completely paralyzed to see Krishna being swallowed by that monstrous crane. Their condition was like that of the senses when prana has escaped, more dead than alive. When our life leaves our body, the senses are like that. They felt like that. But the crane immediately vomited the cowherd boy, the master, even of Brahma, as that creature felt him hot and burning like a ball of fire. He swallowed him and immediately threw him up. Right? He vomited him up. But he says, like, you can imagine it's not a very nice picture. He vomited up Krishna. Right? But that's meant to be, it says, he vomited up that little cowherd boy, 5-year-old cowherd boy, who happens to be the master of even Lord Brahma, which will come in the next soon story. So it's important. These stories are woven together. This cluster of 4 or 5 demons. So it's important. So Krishna became like a ball of fire and vomited out. Actually, we know the story of Sri Ramakrishna went to some place, I forget where. It's in the Lila Prasham, and then some ghost came to him, a spirit, right, and says, "Please leave this place. Please, Thakur, Mahashaya, you leave this place. Right, your presence burns me." Right, Sri Ramakrishna's holy presence that in Thakur says that we should leave this place. Right, he wasn't trying to kill. He was just a ghost stuck in a tree, something, But just that present vibration of it was that the whole pure holiness in a low energy. It burns. Finding the child absolutely unhurt, the monster now ran at him to attack and kill him with his beak. As the boys looked on and the celestials watched with excitement, Krishna killed the attacking monster crane, an ally of Kamsa, by tearing it asunder by its 2 beaks. Right? He grabbed his 2 beaks and ripped them apart. For him it was easy as splitting a blade of grass. Little 5-year-old boy, no problem. Giant monstrous crane, no problem. Right? Thereupon the celestials began to rain jasmine flowers. Jasmine here. Collected from the heavenly gardens of Nandana. and also sang hymns in his praise to the accompaniment of musical instruments like conches and drums. The Gopa boys watched all this in utmost wonder. Just as all the senses cling to the prana on its restoration, so did all the Gopa boys embrace Krishna on his coming back to their mists. Then they returned home, herding all their calves, and reported the events of the day to their elders. Like, Mom, you never know. There's a giant bird. He swallowed Krishna and he vomited and he ripped it apart. I can see the story. Little 5-year-old boys telling what happened. So very nice. But this is a theme because it's being set up at the end of the next story. They didn't tell their parents for a long time something. We'll find out why. It's important. All this is a setup. The Gopas and Gopis were wonderstruck on hearing this. With their hearts melting in intensity of their affection and eyes unsatisfied by his sight, they gazed on him, means Krishna, intently, considering him to be one restored to life from the jaws of death. Yes, I'm thinking something. One family came with a young girl, maybe 5 years old, something, and they came a little late. But for some reason we let them in. We're closed. Oh, sorry, can we just please? We just wanted to do. But okay. It was a public day, so we let them in. And then on the way out, they told us, yesterday we went to the beach, right? And just playing a little bit in the water. And one wave came, and my daughter was swept away. And, gone. She was gone, right? And all the people on the beach, somebody else, where's your daughter? And somebody jumped in, and they found her, and they brought her out and brought her back to life. And that little girl was there. And we of course gave a lot of attention to this little girl. Was it scary? Because But I can remember that same time it was dead, and then within 2-3 minutes she was back in their midst. It was that emotional intensity. All these things are meant to be the way we feel when children are in grave danger. That's the parental affection. I'm nothing to this girl. She's nothing to me, but still I felt so much. What to think? That's why we have to give a lot of attention to their parents. They went through a lot that weekend, And the girl went through a lot. And these dogs are going through a lot. They began to say, alas, this boy has met death several times. He's been killed many times. But lo, death in the end overtook only those who came to destroy him. Perhaps the killers had done much evil in their past, and it is their cumulative effect that has destroyed them. This is important. Right? All those people who came to kill Krishna, this is not their first crime. They're horrible monsters, right? They're demons, right? And so the result of all those karmas, Krishna is also the giver of all karma. He gives the results. He's time also, right? And so when they came to Krishna, they came to kill him, but in order to try to kill Krishna, so much sin had to come to that point. And so that sin Krishna says in the Gita, as you approach me, I respond. If they come as an enemy, he responds an enemy and clears the fruits, gives them the fruits of all those karmas. Through all these, attackers are terrific in appearance. They have not been able to do him any harm to the boy. Though they came to kill him, they perished as moths in fire. Indeed, the words of the knowers of Brahman never prove false. All that Bhagavan Garga has said the other day has come true. Way back when, after Krishna, early on when Krishna had his naming ceremony, Garga Muni, who was a great astrologer, did his chart. And in that chart, he also said that many dangerous things would come. Many happenings would happen, right? He says, actually, he's born very inauspicious. He's born at midnight on all these types of inauspicious times, so many bad things will happen to him. So he says, oh, that Muni, his astrologer, it's coming true. We have to be careful, right? Even we move to a new place, still look what's happened, right? Nanda and the other Gopas, by recounting these exploits of Rama and Krishna with great feeling, forgot completely the suffering of worldly life, engaging themselves in various childish plays like hide and seek, making embankments, leaping like monkeys. The two divine children spent their early boyhood in Braj. This is the end of chapter 11. And originally, I had posted online that we were going to start on chapter 12 with the salvation of Aghasura. And then I was reading, and he mentioned something. I think we haven't mentioned. I realized I skipped something, but it's okay. The three demons go well together. So little boys in the forest with their cows. So there's not very little more wonderful than a picnic in the forest, right? So Krishna is going to have a picnic. We'll see when nothing bad happens at a picnic, right? Sri Shuka said to Parikshit Maharaj. One day, Krishna decided that he would have his lunch in the woodlands and not at home. So getting up very early in the morning, he woke up all his companions by loudly blowing on his cow horn. Right? In their company, he started to the woods with their herded calves in front of them. With him started merrily a very large number of gopa boys, with their equipment consisting of slings. These are all things you need. Little kids need. We had our group of stuff. Slings, sticks, horns, and flutes, and pots of curd rice as they marched ahead, their calves numbering over 1,000. So remember, we sometimes think, but they were considered very rich, right? They didn't have mansions. They were nomadic in a certain sense, right? But their riches came from cows, from milk, and from that also things of the forest. And then by trading milk and ghee and things like this, they could get jewels, gold. Remember, Nanda at the birth of Krishna gave so much wealth to show that the cowherders were quite rich. That this natural life is also a rich life, right? That they have 1,000 cows. Mixing their calves with a very large number of Krishna's calves, they engaged themselves in various boyish games as the calves grazed. Though their mothers had decorated with ornaments of kacha, red beads, precious stones, gold, etc., they regaled themselves with additional decorations of fruits, tender leaves, bunches of flowers, flower buds, peacock feathers, and mineral powders. Daima. So they not only so although they're once again showing that they had the richness because of their status as having lots of cows and therefore being very rich, the kids were all wearing gold and jewels like this. But these are we consider very nice gold and jewels. But to cowherd boys, right? Leaves, flowers, jasmine. This is more important, right? And actually, Krishna, he's Vanamali. He likes flowers of forest flowers, right? Simple things, right? So he is both the external riches of gold as well as simple things of flowers like that. Some of them would play thieves and sling the equipments of others when found out, throw them away to some others at a distance. They're being like keep away or something. You take something, you take the food that they had and throw it. And when they finally go over there, they throw it somewhere else. We go there and you know these are boy games. We did these type of things, and I'm still suffering the consequences of that karma, I think. But anyway, or still angry at the people who who did this to me, right? Some of them would play throw them when the others felt teased, when they felt like that, they laughed and restored their objects to their original owners. Plain. If Krishna happened to go to some distance, drawn by the beauty of the forest scenery, the boys would run in competition to be near him and touch him. Some of them sounded their flutes, some blew their horns, some buzzed with honey beetles, and some cooed with the singing birds, the kokilas. Thus did they engage themselves in play. Not only once again they had instruments and horns like that, but they also mimicked bees and played like birds. Right? It's a beautiful natural life. Some walked with swans imitating their elegant tread. Some mimicked the pose of cranes, like we've always heard, and some danced with the peacocks. Thus did they engage themselves in play. Some of them pulled monkeys by the tails. Some climbed trees after them. Some imitated their games and contortions. Some jumped from one branch to another branch. Thus did they engage themselves in play. Some jumped into the stream and chased the frogs right to the other bank. Some conversed mockingly at their own images in the water. Some scolded the echoes of their own voice from caverns. Thus did they engage themselves in play. Those boys of excellent merit. Oh no, this verse I think this verse I really like. So let's look at this verse a little bit. These verse 11 and 12 are meant why all these cowherd boys are playing with. They're very childlike games, right? Natural, simple games, right? Itam satam brahma, brahma sukha anubhutya. Right, so who is this Krishna that they're playing with? As if little boys, right? So we have to think, who is this Krishna? Who is it that they're playing so intimately, like a friend, right? Itam. Who is this? Who is it? Satam. Satam here means enlightened beings, the transcendentalists, sages, seers, rishis, like that. Brahma Sukha Anubhutya. The one that the rishis know, understand, or experience, direct experience, as Brahma Sukha, the bliss of Brahman. Right? That which the knowers of Brahman call the bliss of Brahman, Brahma Sukha. Right? Dasya Gatanam Para Daivatana. And Dasyam, the devotees, they think he is Parama Daivatam, he is the supreme God. Right? The rishis see him as the supreme, as the bliss of Brahman. The bhaktas see him as the worshipable deity, the supreme deity. Right? Maya Ashritanam, those who are in the clutches of Maya, in full illusion, the rest of us, right? Maya Ashritam Nara Darakena. They see him just as a normal person. Right? So the same being, the rishis see as the bliss of Brahman, the devotee sees as the worshipable deity, and regular people see just a boy. Right? They don't see anything, it's nothing special. Right? He says, Sakam Vajuhu Krita Punya Pujaha. Sakam, they, meaning the cowherd boys, they played with him as a friend. So this is, like, it's a very big thing, actually. That's the thing, that which can't be known. Actually, the rishis call it the bliss of Brahman, but they can't. It's not an object, right? These are all ideas these are almost philosophical statements, not real thing. But the gopas, these little boys, they had such intimate, that supreme reality, which is the worldly person cannot know, sages know, devotees worship. They're playing as if, just like their friend, right? And it says, Kritta Punya Punjaha. This is the result of their collected amassed good merit, right? Just like that statement, this is a mirror statement to all those demons that came to kill Krishna due to their amassed bad merit, right? Krishna cleared it, right? The result of that was being killed by Krishna, right? But actually liberated by Krishna, that's another thing. Here, their good merit of course, we know it's not really merit, but it's a way of talking, it's by mercy, not merit ultimately, but by another way we say, like, by innumerable lifetimes of auspicious deeds and austerities and prayers and fasting and devotion and mantras, one can have such a vision, right? So difficult to have. Even yogis and sages have a hard time understanding this. Yat para pumsur bahu jamna kricharato. Yat param pamsur bahu jamna kricharato. This is para pamsur, the dust of his lotus feet. Jaima, please come. You can sit here if you'd like. Come. We're reading from Krishna Lila, a little bit, some story, killing of Vatasura. Aghasura, sorry. So yat pada pamsu bahu jam. So rishis, yogis, unlimited bahu jamna, so many lives of austerity, trying to get the dust of his lotus feet, the one that they're playing with as childhood friends in the forest of Vrindavan. Jaima, come, sit over here if you like. I was thinking of you today, and here you are, very happy. Jaima. So by many years of hard practice of austerities, yoga bir alabhiya, that with their minds, dritta atma with their minds and souls was full concentration. Thousands of lives of intense austerity was full concentration, right? Yogi bir apya alabhiya. Even yogis can attain this. After thousands of years of practice, they can also attain such a thing. These little boys have attained what yogis, thousands of years of austere practice, haven't been able to attain. Right? A very big thing. Jai Ma, Jai Ma. There's not many, but if you want to move up a little bit, then I can come. Sorry, we're limited there, a little intimate setting out here, but you're welcome to some. You okay back there? Okay. Eva yadrik vishavah swayam sitaha. Ya eva yadrik. Sa eva yadrik vishayah. That being, who the yogis after thousands of lives of intense austerity can't attain, they're seeing him face to face. So who are these? We're talking about the gopas, playing with Krishna. They're seeing, right, a very, very sinful demon. And as we mentioned, the different demons have a symbolic meaning. Aghasura is usually seen as like cruelty and violence. This also has to be gotten rid of as we progress spiritually. This demon has to be killed. Are we back up? Oh, thank you. Good. So Aghasura. This Asura was a terror even to the Devas. So even the Devas, it says, the Devas, who though they had drunk the elixir of immortality, still felt it necessary to protect themselves against him. Right? The Devas who had drank Amrita, who can't die, they're scared of this demon. Right? That's how horrible he actually was. This Aghasura, an emissary of Kamsa, was the brother of Putna and Baka. So Putna, the witch who tried to kill Putna is his older sister, and Bakasura is his younger brother. So not only is he a bad nature, but he hates Krishna. Krishna killed his sister. Krishna killed his brother. Right? It's a very dangerous situation. Right? If you want, you grab one of the other benches and put it back there in case more people. There's another bench like that by the thing. In case more people come. Let me see what time it is. People coming means we're probably getting close. Oh, we have only a few minutes. We have to kill Bakasura. Yeah, go ahead. We have to kill Bakasura quickly. I have another hour of things to say about Bakasura. I just got the Bakasura. I spent the whole day studying Bakasura. It's the way it is. So he hated Krishna, and therefore he promised Kamsa he'd kill him, but also he really wanted to kill him. Right? He's that violent anger nature. Right? This boy is the killer of my sister and brother. I shall kill him along with Balaram, and give satisfaction to my two dead dear ones. If these boys are given to me as funeral offerings to my dead brother and sister, then all the inhabitants of Vraja are as good as dead. For they are like the prana to these people. If they perish, the whole community perishes in the next generation. So if I kill them, right, he says they've been given to me by fate, right, that I can offer their blood as offerings for the peace of my brother and sister. A very nice, ghastly thing. Jai Ma Sadananda. Yeah. But if I kill them, then soon all the people of Raja will die, right? They're the soul of the whole thing. That's what he's thinking. So if the prana of the community, their children are killed, there is nothing to fear from them afterward, as no one need to be concerned himself with the body whose prana has left. Cogitating thus, the evil-minded demon assumed the form of a huge python, and with its mountain-like body, a yojana long, means 8 miles long, his huge body, 1 yojana long, and its mouth wide open like a huge cave, lay in wait on the way to devour the children. His lower lip touched the earth, and the upper one the clouds of the sky. The corners of his mouth were like caverns, while his molars resembled mountain peaks. In the cavity of his mouth where pitch darkness reigned, his tongue lay like a broad road. His breath came out like piercing wind, and his eyes shone like the flames of a forest fire. The boys, on seeing Aghasura, as the above description, mistook the sight to be another wonderful feature of the scenery of Vrindavan. They admired and praised a striking resemblance to a python. Wow, that cave looked just like a snake. Right? It's amazing. It's a magical world. Everything looks magical to little kids, especially in the forest. Like, wow, looks like a dragon. This is his head. And we can, that's not thinking, it actually is a dragon. It actually is his head, right? Very, very nice. They said, "Look here, friends. What is it that we see before it? Is it a living creature or not? Can you say whether the real python laying there to swallow us or a mere feature of the mountainside? See the clouds slightly reddened by the sun's rays look like the upper part of his jaws, and the ground below, which reflects a little of the redness, looks like the lower jaw. And the caves on the right and the left of the mountain feature looked like the corner of a python's lips. A series of lofty peaks look like its molars. This broad and long path is very much like a tongue. The darkness of this gorge between the two peaks resembles the darkness in the mouth of a giant creature. The hot wind caused by forest fires is like its breath, and the smell of burnt flesh coming from the fire is a foul smell emanated by the rotting flesh of a python's stomach. If we were to get in this mouth, would the creature swallow us? But they're playing like, wow, could it happen? If it does so, he will follow the footsteps of Baka and the hands of Krishna." Saying so, they looked at the beautiful face of the story of Baka and laughed, clapping in their hands. So they're actually not fear. They don't really think it's a serpent. It looks like a serpent, but if it is a serpent, Krishna will protect us. Like this, and they jump right in. Right. Hearing the conversation between the ignorant boys, oblivious of the real state of affairs, the Lord, who is present in the hearts of all, understood that it was the real serpent, and the boys had ignorantly taken fact for fantasy. Anxious to save them, he wanted to stop them from proceeding further. Before he could do so, however, the boys and the calves entered the monster's mouth. But instead of swallowing them immediately, the python kept the mouth open for the destroyer of Baka to enter. He wanted Krishna, not just the boys, right? So that he could avenge the death of his two most dear ones. Krishna, the protector of the whole universe, was overcome with pity and wondered at the tragic fate of the boys and the calves, who had none except he as protector. But they slipped out of his hands, even unto the flaming fire of death. They entered. He thought within himself, how could he save the good boys and destroy that wicked monster at one stroke? Having arrived at a plan, the all-seeing Lord Hari entered into the python's mouth. The devas standing behind the clouds cried out, expressing their apprehension, while monstrous beings and the friends and allies of Kamsa felt jubilant. The monsters were very happy about this. Hearing the wailing of the devas, Krishna, the deathless one, began to grow in size within the throat of that monster, and one who wanted to pulverize all of them, Krishna, the boys, and the calves, like one stroke. The gigantic monster, having his air. Oh, this is verse 31. I translated this verse because this verse has some yogic. As I mentioned, there's traditional meaning and some yogic meaning that we have to take a little bit into account, right? That huge monster, he became so big that by becoming big inside the monster's mouth, he plugged his nostrils. Described the two passages were blocked. Right. This, I believe, it could be a possible reference to pranayama also. Right. Because when the prana doesn't have a place to go, it has to go somewhere. He's already been described as prana. The monster described that boy as the prana of the community. Right. He's a prana, and without the prana, nobody cares about body. So he represents prana in this. If we take this a little bit symbolically, as a symbol of symbolically, yogically. It says nirudha margino. Right, he stopped, he closed the passages, right? Because he got something he plugged, he couldn't breathe. What it boils down to. But this is, I think I'm not making it up. There's something here, you'll see, right? Then he moved here. Then the thing began to move here and there. With his eyes bulging like this, and then purno antange pavana nirudaha. Purna, when his antaragni, with all his limbs, the full body was completely full of prana, right? And it couldn't go anywhere, right? No, they couldn't go. Like then, when the air completely filled his body, it was blocked. Murdhan, from the top of the head, right? It breaks, right? Vinnibhaya, breaking. Vinirgata bahi, and he went outside, right? So the spirit, the prana became so much that it broke and then escaped to the top of the head. But what happened in this story, Krishna is still inside the body with the boys, right? He became so big that prana, his breath, and escaped. But then in the next verses it says that he left the body. So this is also perhaps a symbol of breaking through the of course, a snake is a great symbol of Kundalini, but this is an evil snake, right? It's a symbol of many things, right? But the snake here is being described in one verse And I think the next verse, as it's boga, it's a place of enjoyment, right? But he was able to get out, breaking out of that by Krishna's mercy. He was able to liberate, blocking the two nostrils are blocked, Ida and Pingala were blocked, not knowing where to go. It cracked the head and escaped, went outside. Taneva sarveshu bahirgateshu, right? When all that prana had left through the head. This is a place called, the yogis call Brahma Randra. There's a place here, right? Then when that happened, when all that prana had escaped, then the calves and friends, his calves and the cowherd boys who were like dead were revived by Krishna by his glance. He glanced at them and he brought them back to life, no problem. And they came accompanied by Mukunda, by Bhagavan, says Mukunda Bhagavan, out of his mouth. So out of the mouth came marching again Krishna with the boys and the cows, right? So something crack and it comes out and then Krishna comes back out, no problem, right? And Pinari Bhogatitam Ahi Bhoga Uttitam, right? Coming from this, Ahi means serpent, right? So the serpent, but Bhoga, this body was meant for enjoyment. It's been used only for enjoyment, and we know cruel enjoyment, right? So he's actually liberated by coming out, means he's liberated from the body mindset or the physical embodiment that's just meant for enjoyment. It's actually his liberation ultimately, right? What came out? A wonder says, you go. My last two verses here. Ubahitam. Where is it? Boga Abutitam, Maja Jyoti. So from that came Adbhuta, a wonderful, marvelous, spectacular being, right? Jyoti, a great light came out, right? What is that light? Jyoti Swadhamna Jwalayat Disha Dasha. So that light, whose effulgence filled the 10 directions. Right, so it was that the snake's effulgence filled the 10 directions, right? And it lingered in the sky, Vishwa Tasmin Mashikam, and it merged into Krishna, right? While all the devas and cowherd boys looked on, right? So this is the section is called the liberation of this, right? So that he was actually freed, although it was his great sinful nature, and we have to overcome this, but he was freed from his body attachment and his enjoyment that trapped by Krishna's touch. He was in the process of Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna, perhaps if we give it this yogic interpretation, tantric interpretation, and he was freed from it, and then he waited. When Krishna came out, then he merged into Krishna and disappeared. Right, his ultimate liberation. Very beautiful scene. This is verse 33. Jubilant at the event, the Devas honored their savior by a rain of flowers, the Apsaras by dancing, Gandharvas by music, instrumental musicians by orchestra, Brahmanas by praise of hymns and his attendants, by explaining, by the shouting of Jai. Brahma, hearing in Satyaloka the above-mentioned auspicious sounds and festive explanations of hymns, instrumental music, songs, and shouts of joy, soon came to see the expression of the Lord's divine majesty, and was wonderstruck to see what had happened. The dried skin of the python became for a long time, a cave for the purpose of play for the boys of Raj. The skin, that dried skin, they continued to play in that for a long time. This act of Sri Hari, Krishna, resulted in the release from death of themselves, as well as the liberation of Aghasura from samsara, was reported by the boys to their elders in Gokula only 1 year after. So remember last time they told the story, they immediately went home and told their parents. This time, 1 year later, they told their parents. So this is the seed for not 2 weeks from now's discussion, right? Right. So in other words, when Krishna was 6 years old. This happened when Krishna is 5 years old. But they only tell the parents when you're 6 years old. So that's we're wondering what happened and why a year wait. You have to wait. You have to wait a week, 2 weeks to find out why there's a year wait, right? All were astonished to hear this. It is not to be wondered at or considered improbable that Aghasura got rid of all his sins and immediately attained identity with Supreme, which is never to be had by sinners like him ordinarily, all because of the purifying touch of the Lord, the Creator and Supreme Master of the worlds, who had appeared as a human child of Raja. A sinful person can never attain this enlightenment, right? But anybody touches Krishna attains enlightenment. Even those who once get a mental picture of him one who can even think of Krishna, right? Even those who once get a mental picture of him within themselves in meditation do attain that divine state. Why not this Aghasura, in whom the very Lord, the one without any stain of Maya, and ever immersed in the bliss of the Spirit, entered in truth and in reality into his body? Thinking of Krishna, one attains enlightenment. If Krishna actually goes inside of you, right? You actually swallow Krishna, not to think of Krishna. How much more guaranteed you'll attain this. Parikshit Maharaj, who was really a gift of Krishna to the line of the Pandavas, hearing all these accounts of him who was a protector, questioned Sukha again on the same theme which was his mind fully concentrated. The king said, "O learned sage, how can something that happened that was done in a distant past become a current incident? How can an event that had been done in a distant place become a current incident? How can an event that took place in the 5th year of Krishna be reported by the boys, his companions, only a year later, that is in Krishna's 6th year? O great yogin and teacher, it seems to me to be so puzzling. Tell me all about it. It must surely be due to the Lord's Maya, his mysterious spiritual potency, and to nothing else. Though I am an ordinary kshatriya, I am the most fortunate person in the world, for I am able to hear again and again from no less a personage than your holy self the sanctifying accounts of Sri Krishna's deeds." Sutta said, on being questioned in this way, Sukha, the son of Vyasa, thought of the Supreme Being, whereupon all his sense powers and mind got absorbed in him in samadhi. O best among devotees, with great effort, he then brought his mind to the consciousness of the external world and began to speak. He tells the next story. What happened in that mysterious year? You know what happened in that mysterious year. Yeah. So thank you for your kind attention. We started late and went late, so even if we start on time, we go late. So it might. But Arati, now we'll have Arati and Bhajan. Yeah. Thank you for your kind attention. Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Guru.
Who is the translator?
This is the Tapasyananda's translation.
Tapasyananda.
I think we push stop, right? Probably. That makes sense.
This is not real, right?
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Narayan, Govinda. You can throw a little samagri in the fire if you want.